Number 7, Caitlin Lau. Number 9, who was an integral part of the team, could not be here tonight, Laney Brown. Number 10, Amaya Locke. Number 12, Lillian Davis. Number 13, Jaden Sadler. Number 14, Cameron Carter. Number 18, Addie Galore. And number 21, Taylor Caston. Okay. Oh, Harper Haas, sorry. Where's Harper? Number 8, Harper Haas. Sorry, Harper. Coaches, Jordan Williams, head coach, assisted by Rachel Williams, Taylor Ellis, and with us tonight, Maritza Martinez. Athletic trainers, managers, and statisticians were Ashlyn Strapp, Jalen Gerhart, Chad McCune, Chinwin Lee, and our statistician, Jason Kramer. This marks Midway's third state softball title, previous championships in 1998 and 2010, and follows a runner-up finish in 2024. This team's coaches and leadership propelled the Pantherettes to a 31-3 record, culminating in a dominant 9-1 win over Clear Springs in the state championship game on May 31st at Red and Charlie McCombs Field in Austin. If you bear with me, a couple of superlatives on the year. Sophomore Peyton Phillip, pitcher, was named championship game MVP after striking out 11 and delivering some timely hits. Yep. Lillian Davis, Amaya Locke, Laney Brown, Callie Alvarado, and Harper Haas were named to the all-tournament team. In addition, Cameron Carter, Peyton Phillip, Jaden Sadler were named to the 24-25 Texas Girls Coaches Association All-State team. And a very prestigious honor, Peyton Phillip was named MVP of the Texas High School Coaches Association's Super Elite team. Jaden Sadler was also named to that Super Elite team as well. Congratulations, Coach Williams, coaches, players, and please join me one last time in celebrating your state champion, Pantherettes. Don't go far.
Amazing.
Don't go far. Yeah.
So proud to make champs forever. Well done. So proud of you. Yoo-hoo. I could have gone to that game.
All right. Next, one thing I would like to say before there's been 10 times that a high school has won both baseball and softball. This happened. 3 happened this year, coincidentally. But Midway will be ever known as the first one to do it in the largest classification in 6A Division I. So, great accomplishment. All right. So now we would like to honor the Midway High School Panther baseball team for capturing the 2025 Class 6A Division I State Baseball Championship. We're proud to recognize an incredible group of student athletes and coaches who brought home one of the highest honors in Texas high school sports. Here's your championship team. I'll introduce you one by one. So number 1, TJ Woodson. Number 2, David Lytle. Number 3, Tyler Seith. Number 4 could not be here tonight, Charlie Steen. Number 5, Colt Holmes. Number 6 could not be here, Jackson Goldstrich. Number 7, Hayden Merritt. Number 9, Brody Potts. Number 10, Garrett Weethorn could not be here tonight. Number 11, Brady Quinn. Number 12, Max Mayton. Mr. Hidden Ball himself, number 13, Jerome Stead. Number 14, Andrew Fossum. Not in attendance tonight, number 15, Case Hogg. Number 16, Kyle Buck. Number 17, Holden White. Not present tonight, number 19, Aiden Rangel. And not present tonight, number 20, Lincoln Fisher. Number 21, Sebastian Joyce. Number 18, Canyon Martin. Number 21, Sebastian Joyce. Number 22, Hudson Pierce. Oh, sorry. Catching up. Number 23, Michael Slovak. Not here tonight, number 24, Reed Deathrow. Number 26, Ethan Posey. And number 28, Ethan Swope. Led by their coaches. It's coming. Led by their coaches, Eddie Kornblum, head coach. Ben Bazin, assistant coach. Patrick Mathis, Chase Cryer, and Ramon Reed. Support staff includes, that played obviously a critical role in this championship. One, Isaac Foley. And our athletic trainers, Chad McCune and Chin Win Lee. The Panthers finished this season with an impressive 33-8 record, capped by a 6-2 victory over Atascocita on June 7, 2025 at Dell Diamond in Round Rock to secure state title. This championship run featured multiple standout performances, including several in the final win. Championship MVP honors went to junior Brody Potts, who delivered 4 2/3 scoreless innings in relief, notching 4 strikeouts and improving to 9-0 on the season. Named to the all-tournament team, Jackson Goldstrich, Drew Olmstead, TJ Woodson, and Kenyon Martin. Some postseason superlatives. TJ Woodson was also named first-team All-State shortstop. David Lytle was named third-team All-State second baseman. And Coach Kornblum was named Super Syntex Baseball Coach of the Year. In light of this phenomenal achievement, McLennan County and the City of Waco have both prepared proclamations in recognition of these two teams. First, McLennan County, County Commissioner Jim Smith, if you'd like to come up here. Mike is yours, sir.
It's quite an honor for me to represent McLennan County in recognizing this outstanding performance by both these young ladies and these young men. I would first like to quickly recognize my wife, Susan, who is a proud Midway Panther graduate herself. I will not tell you the year, but there were 62 in her graduating class. Okay. A proclamation of the McLennan County Commissioners Court recognizing and congratulating the 2025 Midway Panther State Champion Baseball Team. Whereas on Saturday, June the 7th, 2025, the Midway Varsity Baseball Team defeated the humble Atascocita Eagles 6-2 at the UIL Class 6A Division I State Championship held in Austin, Texas, winning the state championship title. And whereas the 2025 Midway Varsity Baseball Team, with a record of 33-8, became the first Midway baseball team to receive the Class 6A level championship title and their second state championship in school history. And whereas the McLennan County Commissioners Court would like to publicly recognize and congratulate the players, students, faculty, parents, and fans for this great achievement. The court applauds the coaching staff for their time and talents put forth in bringing out the best of the best in preparing this championship team. TJ Woodson, David Lytle, Tyler Scythe, Charlie Steen, Colt Holmes, Jackson Goldstridge, Hayden Merritt, Daniel Zhao. I'm trying, folks. Brody Potts, Garrett Weethorn, Brady Quinn, Max Mayton, Drew Olmstead, Andrew Fossum, Case Hogg, Kyle Buck, Holden White, Canyon Martin, Aiden Rangel, Lincoln Fisher, Sebastian Joyce, Hudson Pierce, Michael Slovak, Reed Deathrow, Colt Russell, Ethan Swope, Aiden Locke, Jimmy White. Head coach Eddie Kornblum, assistant coaches Ben Basin, Patrick Mathis, Chase Cryer, and Ramon Reed. Athletic trainers Chad McCune and Chinwin Lee. Team manager Isaac Foley. Athletic director Brad Shelton. High school principal Allison Smith. And superintendent Dr. Chris Allen. Now therefore, be it proclaimed that the McLennan County Commissioners Court officially recognizes and congratulates the 2025 Midway Varsity State Champion Baseball team for their exemplary performance, and be it further proclaimed that a copy of this proclamation be made a permanent part of the minutes of the Commissioners Court. Witness our hand and seal this 17th day of June, 2025. This will be recorded in our minutes, or has been recorded in our minutes, and will live in perpetuity. Congratulations. Oh, a picture? Oh. They deserve it.
Okay, y'all look at me. If I can't see your face, then you're not going to be on camera. So Drew, scoot over a little bit. There you go. Let's get Coach and is it Isaac over here on this side? And then Ethan and Andrew switch. All right, everybody right here, look at me. 1, 2, 3. Make sure you see everybody. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
What are they doing? I thought Brad had something else. Just give him a second here.
I want your help at the end. Hang on.
Okay.
You want to move them off, or are they good?
No, well, let's do the city one.
Yep.
Did you take it?
Yep. Ready? He's got it right here.
Yeah. Okay, then let's do softball next. Yes.
Okay.
Hey man,
All right. You want to just bring them in front?
Yep.
Okay.
you got your. Are you wearing your fish slippers tonight? Oh man,
Walk in front.
hey, you're smart. You're a good guy.
Okay.
Coach Kornblum, can you get your team to go that way? Line up your boys. Line them up that way. Uh-huh. Yeah, they do. Yeah, so I'm going to put them over there.
Carolyn had to rein it in.
By the girls go red.
I was sitting here thinking, why did they take pictures of the girls?
Well, they're getting ready to.
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
we'd like to now present a proclamation to the state championship girls softball team. A proclamation of the McLennan County Commissioners Court recognizing and congratulating the 2025 Midway Varsity State Champion Softball Team. Whereas on Saturday, May the 31st, 2025, the Midway Pantherettes varsity softball team defeated the League City Clear Springs Chargers at the UIL Class 6A Division I State Championship held in Austin, Texas, winning the state championship title. And whereas with a 9-1 victory over the Chargers, the Pantherettes, for the third time in school history, conquered their way through playoffs, capturing their first state title since 2010. And whereas the 2025 Midway Varsity Softball team, showing an impressive season on the high school field, finished with a season record of 32-3. And whereas the McLennan County Commissioners Court is thrilled to celebrate the remarkable effort and dedication of the 2025 Midway Varsity Softball team, we proudly recognize this incredible team for their outstanding achievements. Natalia Hernandez, Katie Moore, Callie Alvarado, Peyton Phillip, Raylyn DeGear, Tierra Ramos, Caitlin Lowe, Harper Haas, Laney Brown, Amaya Locke, Lillian Davis, Jaden Sadler, Cameron Carter, Addie Glore, and Taylor Caston. Whereas in addition to honoring the players, the McLennan County Commissioners Court would like to recognize head coach Jordan Williams, assistant coaches Taylor Ellis, Rachel Williams, Martiza Martinez, statistician Jason Kramer, athletic trainers Chad McCune and Chinwin Lee, team managers Ashlyn Lestrap and Jalen Gerhardt, athletic director Brad Shelton, high school principal Allison Smith, and superintendent Dr. Chris Allen. And now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the McLennan County Commissioners Court officially recognizes and congratulates the 2025 Midway Varsity State Champion Softball team for their exemplary performance, and be it further proclaimed that a copy of this proclamation be made a permanent part of the minutes of the Commissioners Court. Witness our hand and seal this 17th day of June, 2025. Congratulations.
Last time they won, that was high school principal.
It's true. It's true. You're a good luck charm.
Well, for softball, maybe.
Maybe.
Yes. County Commission.
We have another proclamation from the city of Waco that is for both softball and baseball, so I'm gonna ask baseball to come back up and join softball. If y'all will come behind the girls, 2 rows, y'all will kneel down in the front row, squat in the second row, first row boys, just kind of next to the row. We wanna be able to see everybody.
Well, I want to see this.
If y'all can kind of squat down a little bit.
Girls don't want to squat.
We didn't win the dance.
No, with the boys, we practiced getting up for the picture at the state tournament. That was the first thing you had to do was show up and take a picture. They practiced. Good? All right. At this time, I'd like to introduce Mr. Rick Tullis, School Board Trustee for Midway ISD, representing the City of Waco.
I don't actually represent the city of Waco, but I am going to read their proclamation because my friend Jim Holmes is not here today. I also want to brag real quick on the rest of my my Board of Trustee members. I think it's appropriate to look back and go, and the one little way we may have helped you guys was 3 years ago, we voted to put turf in on both softball and baseball. Yeah, a little short, maybe. Okay. I, Jim Holmes, by virtue of the authority invested in me as mayor of City of Waco, Texas, do hereby proclaim June 17th, 2025 as Midway High School Softball and Midway High School Baseball State Championship Day. In the City of Waco, we urge all citizens to join the City Council, the city staff, and me, Jim Holmes, who's not really me, but Jim Holmes, in recognizing and honoring the Midway High School Panthers softball team and the Midway High School Panthers baseball team for their outstanding achievements of winning state. Both championships were the culmination of years of hard work and determination. The success of both teams is not only a reflection of their athleticism, but also their commitment to excellence. The discipline, sportsmanship, and integrity of the players, both on and off the field, are a testament to the values of Midway Independent School District. The City of Waco celebrates these championships, and we look forward to the continued success of Midway High School and its outstanding student athletes. In testimony whereof, witness my hand, the seal of the City of Waco, this 17th day of June, 2025. All right, Mayor Holmes.
Do they need the actual proclamation now?
We'll post it. I'll post it in the
Thank
office.
you.
Yeah, y'all are good. Except for Saturday. No, they're excellent.
We have a little matter of the budget to get through.
It's minor detail. Minor detail. Good job, Mayor.
I have one thing off script. Mr. Tullis alluded to this or said it out loud, but we appreciate your leadership, not only the school board, but district administration. So we have a small gift that David Lytle and Jaden Sadler would like to give y'all.
Oh, look at this. Where are we gonna hang that? Look at this. That's great. We can put it right here. We get that. Yeah, we do.
Shoulders back, your representative's already. Awesome, thank y'all.
Thank y'all.
We appreciate it.
That's awesome.
Yes.
My first day now. I wasn't on the board in 2010. Is this your third? This is what your fourth? You were
What?
here for all three girls, weren't you? This is the third.
Boys soccer too. Yeah, absolutely.
That would have been 5. Boys soccer was 5.
No, 2002.
Oh, 2.
2002. That's the end of our recognition. The rest of the meeting is equally as exciting. No offense to the facility study committee folks. Those are hard acts to follow, right? But we do have a board decision to make that's not on the agenda tonight. We'll defer, and that's going to be where do we hang that? Right? Because that was to the,
This is our space. So
yeah, it should be in here. We just need to, we need to look and see where'd be a good spot for it, seriously, because,
I was just getting ready to say.
yeah.
I know exactly who to ask.
All right, that's what we'll do. That is great. That
Brad
is
referred to
great.
it at some point in the proceedings that Miss Vick and I had the privilege of being with him and Dr. Allen and Allison Smith. And I don't think I've ever seen Chris Allen smile that big or yell that loud. And we were jumping and screaming. And it was an incredible win, an incredible moment. And we needed that this spring. And we're
Yep.
very grateful.
Wish I could have been at the girls' game.
Yeah.
State championships, they're hard to beat. So, other agenda items. We have information items, which is our proposed board meeting calendar for the coming, basically, school year, right? And then we've got the cell phone legislation. A copy of that full bill is in your board packet. We could talk about it tonight if y'all want. It's on the agenda, but suffice it to say, we as a board are mandated to adopt a policy pursuant to that. It's going to require some significant discussion that will defer to a later date unless somebody's got something in particular they feel like we need to take up tonight, because it's going to require a lot of thought, and we're going to need to have something from the administration as a recommendation for what our board policy ought to look like on that. So, if no questions on either of those, we'll then move on to our presentation discussion items, which opening with Mr. Brooks, our monthly finance report, and the 25-26 cloudy crystal ball that we're going to call a budget.
That's right. Yes, sir. Good evening, members of the board. This month's financial report does start on page 10 of the board packet. And I won't be really touching on anything in there. I'll be focusing on the budget for next year, but if you do have questions on the financial report, feel free to ask. So budget update for fiscal year 26. We do have a budget bill that was signed by the governor, House Bill 2, on June the 4th. So since our last meeting, a lot has changed. So just to kind of give a little background of kind of how we ended up here, the House had their version of the budget bill, and the Senate had their version. The House, most of their funding was put in the basic allotment, and the basic allotment is really the engine which drives the school finance system. If you increase the basic allotment, then it increases all the weighted funding areas for the student sub-pops and all those things. In the Senate version, most of their funding was tied up in the teacher salary allotment. So what they landed on was somewhat of a compromise in House Bill 2. So there's a significant portion of the $8.5 billion new budget bill for school funding that is in the salary allotment, but also they came up with a few other allocations to give school districts a little more discretion in how to spend those funds. So I'm going to go over a few of those provisions and the key elements of House Bill 2. Just kind of a bird's eye view, and then also kind of look at how that plays out into the district's adopted budget for next year. So as I mentioned, the basic allotment, the House version had about a $300 increase in the basic allotment, and the Senate's version had a $55 increase in the basic allotment. That's what they settled on, and this amount cost the state $800 million. And the way they're funding that is actually they're freezing the golden penny yield. So the golden penny yield increases our Tier 2 funding every year based on the statewide district wealth per WADA. So the 96th percentile of the most wealthiest districts in the state, all other districts are guaranteed to be able to get the amount of money they can per penny per WADA for each golden penny. So that number, that yield per golden penny increased every year as the state's wealth increased every year. But now they're freezing that amount, and so now the only way that the golden penny Tier 2 allotment will increase is if our WADA increases. They're freezing the per WADA amount, and that $800 million they're putting into the basic allotment. And that's where they get the $55 increase to the basic allotment. It costs $800 million. So in the future, any increase that would have gone to that golden penny yield will be folded back into the basic allotment. For Midway ISD, that increase is $600,000. Next, this is a new allotment that House Bill 2 created. It's called the allotment for basic costs. And the cost of the state for this one is $1.2 billion. And it is an allotment to pay for costs associated with things like transportation, utilities, employee health insurance, retirement, property and casualty insurance. And it is determined based on $106 per student enrolled. So we'll look at our fall PEAM snapshot, whatever our enrollment is at that point. We'll multiply that by $106. And for us, based on last fall's PEAM snapshot number, that's $935,000 for the district that can be spent in these areas. And the state will determine some sort of monitoring or compliance just to ensure that we are spending these allotments in accordance to how they were intended. Next, we have the teacher retention allotment. So of the $8.5 billion in the entire budget bill, 4.2 is dedicated to the teacher retention allotment. The allotment refers to the existing law definition of classroom teacher in Texas Education Code 5.001 to determine who's eligible for this allotment. It defines a teacher as an educator employed by a school district and teaches not less than an average of 4 hours each day. Now, there's still a little bit of interpretation on this and who exactly it includes. So we're keeping an eye on that and just kind of making sure that we understand who all is eligible for this allotment. And here's a breakdown of how much teachers get. So for districts with enrollment of 5,000 or less, teachers with 3 to 4 years experience get $4,000. 5 or more years experience get $8,000. Districts with enrollment of 5,000 and 1 or more, which Midway is included. Teachers with 34 years experience get $2,500, and 5 or more years of experience get $5,000. Next is a new allotment is the support staff retention allotment. So in the initial Senate bill, they only included funding for the teacher salary increase, right? So that covers about 600 of our employees are eligible for that allotment, which leaves another 600 or so without any funding to contribute toward their raises. And so in response to this is kind of the compromise that came up with the support staff retention allotment. We get $45 per regular program allotment, so kind of a scaled down version of our ADA. And for us, it's about $315,000 that we'll get from this allotment. It costs the state $500 million, and it can be used for raises for non-administrative staff, basically anybody not eligible for the teacher retention allotment. But just to give you an idea, for us, $315,000, it doesn't even cover a 1% raise for the employees that fall into this category. So we still have to supplement that quite a bit if we want to try to give substantial raises to those employee groups. Special education, this is one that's still a little fuzzy. The first year of the biennium, we will get $1,000 for every SPED evaluation, and that's $300,000 the district will receive to help defray the cost of SPED evaluations throughout the year. There's also anywhere between $250 million to $850 million dedicated to the changes in the SPED funding model. So they're moving from instructional setting to an intensity of services based model. There's going to be 8 tiers of intensity of service, and funding weights are tied to each of those. We don't know what those are yet. So in fiscal year 27, we will get additional funding for that. But like I said, there's a kind of a wide range of how that could fall. So we'll be waiting to hear more information on that. The school safety allotment, that was already in place under current law, but they're essentially doubling the amount of that allotment. So the student multiplier is going from $10 to $20, the per campus multiplier from $15,000 to $33,000. It does actually move this allotment to a different subchapter of the school finance system. And so it does not generate or help increase WADA. So it actually decreases our Tier 2 funding a little bit. So there's a bit of an offset, even though we are getting a higher school safety allotment. We're losing a little bit in our Tier 2 funding because of the way they wrote the new law. So here overall is the impact to Midway ISD. Each of those elements I just went over, you can see the total increased revenue because of this House Bill 2 is $4.2 million. $2.1 million there is to that teacher retention allotment. And so whoever qualifies for that, the state will give us that funding and we'll pass that on to those teachers accordingly. And this Finally, this slide shows our proposed budget for fiscal year 26, and later in the meeting we'll have a public hearing to adopt this general fund budget. It's a deficit of $3.4 million. There is still, like I said, a lot to kind of interpret, understand on how House Bill 2 is going to play out, and different funding models and exactly what that looks like for us. So this is somewhat of a worst case scenario, a 3.4 deficit. We do hope will look better as the year progresses and we find out more info on House Bill 2. Any questions?
Questions from the board? Comments from the board?
There's not another portion of the presentation where we talk about the other salary increase components or anything, right? It's just the time to ask that question so it's out in conversation.
Yes, and Dr. Knudsen
There are
three
more slides. There are a couple more slides talking about compensation. Okay, I just didn't see it on mine, so I'm sorry.
I'll expand a little bit on the compensation portion of what Mr. Brooks just presented here, really honing in on the bullet pointed items at the bottom of this slide on employee compensation and some details about that. Some explanations on the teacher retention allotment. Again, some of this we're still learning. We've got a webinar we'll be in on Monday to learn a little bit more about interpretations here. But what we do understand, Mr. Brooks explained that the teacher retention allotment will be about $2.1 million for Midway ISD. The way that that will be dispersed will depend heavily or completely on how our teachers are coded in our October snapshot PEIMS fall submission. And so the state will look and identify teachers who are coded in what we call an 087 code, and teachers who, for at least 4 hours each day, provide academic instruction to students. Teachers who meet that definition will qualify for this teacher retention allotment component. And the teachers who have completed 1 and 2 years of teaching in the state of Texas do not qualify for any type of retention allotment here. I do have them on the slide so that I can make notation for us to talk about those on the next slide. But the teachers who will qualify for the teacher retention allotment are teachers who have completed 3 years or more of teaching in the state of Texas. And that breakdown is there at bullet point number 2 and 3. They're at the bottom of the slide. Anyone that's completed 3 to 4 years in the state will be able to look at their current salary and where they are on our current teacher pay plan and add $2,500. Which will be about a 5% increase on their salary. Anyone in Midway ISD that's completed 5 years or more will be able to consider their current pay plus $5,000, which for our teachers here, that equates to 7 to 10%, depending on what step in the teacher pay scale that they are on. So that $2.1 million is sort of a pass-through amount that will provide this teacher retention allotment to teachers with 3 or more years of completed experience. So keep in mind those teachers with 1 to 2 years completed experience, they will fall into this group of staff. So all other staff plus those teachers with 1 to 2 years completed experience, looking at a 2% GPI on their salary midpoints or pay range midpoints, plus some additional adjustments. So we work with TASB each year to look at every employee in the district, what pay grade that they're on, what pay plan they're on, and determine a calculation here. So what we're recommending for adoption tonight is a 2% pay increase for all other staff not included in this teacher retention allotment amount for 3 years or more experience. That will be about $1.3 million. And related to health benefits, so historically, Midway has been able to increase contribution toward what we call an employee-only or a $0 pay plan for employees in our health benefits category. This year, our health benefits in that basic plan have increased $63 a month, which is the largest increase we've seen in quite a number of years for our employees. we are recommending that you consider an additional contribution on top of what we currently offer. You currently contribute $446 toward that $0 plan. We will no longer be able to have the $0 plan if you take on this recommendation, but with the $33 increase, we are able to add a little bit to that large increase that we're seeing. It would cost an additional $400,000 to be able to offer that and extend that to our employees. What that means is that employees who have experienced in the past a $0 pay plan option, if we extend to them $30 a month that they would need to pay, and we offset that with an additional increase of $33, it would mean $360 plan for them out of their pocket each year. So the 2% GPI increase for those employees can hopefully help to offset that, where employees aren't feeling a regression in their salary there. So pending adoption tonight with the budget and this component of a compensation plan, we will be developing communication plans to go out to our employees over the next couple of weeks, trying to detail all of this out, explain to our employees what this means for them individually, and prepare how to answer their questions and explain how all of this impacts them. And we'll work on that with our communications department and help and guidance from TASB. Any questions that I can answer?
Yeah, are the state's contribution to the teacher raises, is that permanent, or is that something that's going to have to come up every biennium that they have to approve? How's that being funded?
You may be able to articulate that much more clearly than me.
Into the funding formulas, so it's permanent.
It's permanent.
They would have to take action.
Gotcha. Okay.
Is the state helping pay for the teacher retirement portion that we have to give with this new raise?
Not exactly. The increases that Mr. Brooks talked about through those other, I'm going to back up here, Mr. Brooks, through the basic allotment, the allotment for basic costs is intended to offset that, but when you look at Midway's specific impact, our basic allotment increase of $55 and the allotment for basic costs, the increase in contribution to the TRS benefits cost that we're going to incur with this increase in pay will eat up a large chunk of that.
It'll eat up most of the basic allotment increase. So it costs us about $400,000 additional.
So that basic allotment, that the extra money we're getting is going to be eaten up by the extra expenses we incur with the teacher raise.
That's correct.
Brilliant.
Yeah, but it's the largest funding increase ever for public ed, Rick. You know that.
Yeah.
$8.5 billion. Other questions?
I know that in our conversation earlier in the workshop that you said it's kind of thought of as a worst case scenario, right? That some of this is still figuring out, like you said, like what exactly is classified as a teacher or not, and how are some of these things going to shake out. So we feel like this is the reddest the number will get, so to speak. It might get somewhat less red as we go along.
Yes, sir, and I want to be, we talked about this, but just purposes of clarity, worst case scenario being the basically $3.5 million hit to fund balance. We expect that to come down.
More, I mean, obviously, it tends to every year.
Yeah, but more than
works with
projected.
magic, and we end up with $1 million or so that we didn't think we had, but more than that even potentially.
I mean, I want to be very
Not holding you
hesitant
to it. I understand.
There's so much about this that we don't know. Now, what we've tried to do is give the board the opportunity to adopt a budget and see a number that they know what the outer limit of what the negative impact to fund balance would be, and then be pleased when the number comes in less than that.
Sure. Sure. Well, and obviously, looking at the actual budget expenditures, personnel is by far the largest thing there. So
Yes, sir.
we know that the people we have are what make Midway what it is. So we clearly want to do what we can to keep them around. So yeah.
I was hoping at this time I could pass on something from a colleague who's on the school board in Manor ISD, just to give us a snapshot of where we are in Texas right now Breaking news, red exclamation points. Today, I'm filled with immense pride as our team of 8, our dedicated board and superintendent accomplished something truly extraordinary. We passed a balanced budget. In a time when funding deficits and minimal increases from the latest legislative session made this feel like an uphill battle, our focused and united board proved that together that we can overcome any odds. I know we come together and overcome a lot of odds as well, but the fact that people are celebrating passing a balanced budget is an indication of how many districts in Texas are gonna probably end up in the red because of our current financial climate and the funding formulas that we're looking at. So thank you for letting me share that editorial comment.
Other questions, comment, or discussion? All right. We have the public hearing later on the agenda, along with action on actually adopting a budget. In the meantime, Jordan Berry, Chair of the Facility Study Committee. Let me just open by saying those people are to be tremendously thanked by this board and the community for hours and hours at the meetings and study outside the meetings. I was at every one of those meetings, ex officio only, and I can just tell you the amount of information that those folks were presented over that time and all of the learning that went into being able to intelligently bring forward a recommendation is tremendous. Jordan, thank you.
Thank you.
Certificates made for them too?
Yeah, it was a heavy lift.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Good evening, members of the board and Dr. Allen. My name is Jordan Berry, and I'm the Chief Credit Officer at American Bank. As the father of 3 current Midway students and the husband to a 17-year Midway employee, I have a deep appreciation for Midway ISD. For the past 4 years, I've also been blessed to serve on the board of the Midway ISD Education Foundation and currently serve as president. Over the past 17 years, with my family involvement and my role on the Education Foundation, I've developed a deep desire to help Midway continue to grow and thrive. I was blessed and honored to be able to serve as chair of the Facility Study Committee and play a small part in helping shape the future of Midway ISD. I'm excited to see many of our committee members here tonight in attendance. Tonight, I'm joined by fellow presenters Brian Bundy, Dave Deaconson, Ashley Rodriguez, and Ahmad Washington. Ahmad is going to start us off tonight by telling you more about this committee.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the board. Good evening, everybody in the audience. As he said, my name is Ahmad Washington, and the thing that drove me to be a part of this was both personal and passion. Personal in the sense I have 2 kids that have gone through Midway ISD School District. My daughter just graduated this year. She won homecoming queen. She wanted me to announce that, just in case. So y'all tell her I did that. And she's graduating, going off to college, play volleyball. So we were intricately a part of athletic experiences. My son just finished his freshman year, choir and doing track, and so fine arts. And so we've been involved in Midway ISD District for years, me and my wife. And so it's been an awesome experience. And of course, being a part of any district, it comes with both its challenges and its blessings. And those things have shaped our family and shaped our kids. And it is because of those reasons that I'm here. That's my why. That's why I joined this committee, was just a passion and a deep care for students and the future of this district, and a commitment to contributing meaningfully to something that's bigger than myself. Just my personal calling and passion for the Lord just caused me to be a part of things like this. And just a passion for ensuring that there is equity and excellence across all campuses within Midway ISD. Why this work matters. We're not just talking about schools. We're talking about students. We're talking about families. We're talking about their futures and our future as a community. Decisions about facilities directly impact student learning experiences and environments, teacher morale and retention, as well as community growth and long-term sustainability for this area. These buildings serve generations. We're talking about tens of thousands of lives affected over decades and over time. As mentioned before, as we see this first slide, over 500 cumulative hours of collaborative work and study, where we review demographic projections, enrollment trends, and capacity challenges that are being faced by the district, current campus conditions, future needs, district finances, and long-term planning tools. We prioritize needs based upon data, feasibility, and student impact. We conducted campus tours. We've seen real-life, firsthand conditions of the schools that are part of our district, and those things affected us deeply. And we had deep, respectful conversations, even though we did not agree on everything. A little bit about we have our charge up there. You guys can read that upon your leisure, but those things undergird how we moved and how we interacted with one another as we served in this committee. There were 49 members represented in this committee, and some of those committee members are here. If you are, please stand briefly so you can be acknowledged. Awesome. All grade levels, all feeder patterns, parents, non-parents, community members, business owners, past and present and future MISD families were represented, stakeholders abroad. The average attendance for those meetings was 33 in attendance per meeting. Those meetings were both impersonal and virtual, which made participation accessible. What this means is that the committee was diverse in experience, diverse in wealth of knowledge, diverse in both culture, all the things that are necessary when you're making a decision that's going to impact an entire community. This group right here, this is the name of everybody that was in attendance, that were participating, and I just want to appreciate them as well. This was a collaborative decision making that took place. It was based on facts and not assumptions. We honored different voices, backgrounds, and lived experiences. Every idea was put through the lens of, is this what's best for the kids? Does this meet the needs of the whole district, not just one campus or one neighborhood? Balanced, big picture vision and practical realities was how we approached this thing. We didn't just think like parents. We thought like neighbors. We thought like mentors. We thought like stewards of something very valuable and very important. Facilities affect economic growth, workforce development, property values, quality of life for all residents, whether they have kids in the school or not. Our commitment was to make recommendations that uplifted everyone. This process was thoughtful. It was heart-driven. It was also a process that was a heart-driven process for the community, and it was done with care, with evidence, with facts, as well as with vision. Thank you for your leadership and your willingness to listen. We trust that these recommendations will help you steward Midway ISD in the future to make it stronger, smarter, and more unified as a community. Up next is my guy, Brian. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Brian Bundy, and I'm here tonight as a father of 3 boys who've all been through Midway. Our journey at Midway started over 20 years ago when we had a child start at South Bosque over in the PPCD program, have had kids go through Spiegelville Elementary, Woodway Elementary, River Valley, Midway Middle, and then the high school. And I can just say that our experience at Midway has been just excellent over these last 20 plus years as a parent and as just a dad who's seen his kids be involved in all sorts of activities, from fine arts to athletics to just robotics, water polo, anything. We've probably been around it. And so we are so thankful to have been part of Midway, to be part of this community, to be part of the school. So thankful for the teachers and administrators. And so it's a joy and an honor to be part of this committee. So what I'm talking about tonight basically is going to be our community, our enrollment. And as you guys know, we've seen a lot of growth in the Midway School District over the last few years, and that's what I'm going to talk about, is there's more coming. And so this is here a chart or a map of our district, and you can see that it's a rather large district. We serve over 8,800 students currently, and our district is also over 86 square miles. And so we have seen a lot of growth over the last few years, and here, this is reflecting that we're seeing more coming. Right now, we have 22 active subdivisions that are coming right now with 440 lots that are underway. And then also we have 10 future subdivisions that are coming as well. And from what we can tell from the past, for every house that's built, that's about half a student per household. So just imagine for every 2 homes that are being built, that's going to be a student that we can expect to attend a Midway school. That's also not to mention the fact that we're going to have a lot of multifamily that's coming along as well. So we have 256 units that are currently under construction, another 1,800 units that are being planned currently. And that yields a little difference, about 0.2 students per unit. So, but again, every 5 units we can expect a student to enroll. So we know that growth is continuing to come. I forgot to mention I'm a real estate agent also here in the area, so very much tied to what's going on with community growth and how good schools affect good communities and good subdivisions and all that. So something that I definitely keep an eye on, and Midway's been the recipient of a lot of growth over the last few years. So what we did is not just study our facilities, but just how they're used. And the thing that I'm going to highlight that we'll see on this next chart here is not just the capacity and utilization, but what is the functional capacity? What's the practical capacity of each school? And so in here, you'll see on this next chart here that 5 of our 8 elementary schools are already at a 90% functional capacity. And so what you'll see here, though, in the fall of 2028, is that we are going to cumulatively, through our elementary schools, be at accumulation of over 90% functional capacity. And the good news is, even in 2033, just a few short years later, we're going to be over our capacity. And so the thing that, like I've said, over the last 20 years being part of this school district and the community here, that's been such a joy to see, is we've had such great leadership through the years, past boards and administrations and the current one as well, is that we've always been, what I've noticed is looking forward to not be reactive to problems and situations that are coming, but proactive. And so the reason we're going over this right now is just so that more growth is coming, and we don't want to fall behind the eight ball. So really, time is of the essence, and it's an urgent matter to be thinking ahead and to be talking about that. So as the rest of the committee shares the presentation, I would urge you guys to keep that in mind, that these numbers here, especially that in the fall of 2028 and in the fall of 2033, we will be falling behind the 8 ball if we don't take action. You'll notice that Midway High School is already kind of at that 90% functional capacity, but with the way that the enrollment numbers kind of level out, and just through the utilization of different capacities the high school can make it function at a better rate, you're going to hear recommendations on specific programs that are vitally needed right now for student life and the quality of life for students and teachers at the high school and within certain programs. But for the most part, we were focusing mostly on these numbers here that you've seen highlighted for the elementary school. So again, thank you for your time. Thank you for your leadership. And I'm going to hand it off to Dave. The clicker is yours. Oh, I'm sorry, Ashley. Wrong person. I did that twice.
All right. Good evening. My name is Ashley Rodriguez, and I'm honored to speak with you tonight as a representative of the Facility Study Committee. When I was invited to join this committee, I didn't hesitate to say yes. This district has been a place where my kids go to school, and it's also where we have built our lives. I'm a proud parent to 4 children, and Midway has been a part of our story for a long time. My oldest 2 children attended Woodway and Hewitt Elementary and continued through the middle school, graduating at the high school. My 3rd child is a rising 10th grader, and my youngest son attends Park Hill Elementary, the newest school in our district. We've cheered at athletic events, celebrated milestones in our fine arts programs, and I currently serve as the PTA president at Park Hill. This district has shaped my kids' lives and mine too. And I want every student to have the same opportunity my children have had. So when I joined this committee, I did it because I deeply care about the learning environments that we're providing, not just for my own kids, but for every student at Midway ISD. This work is about giving our teachers and students the spaces they need to thrive, safely, comfortably, and confidently. In addition to looking at capacity needs, we studied the quality of our facility conditions. What we found was alarming. There are major discrepancies between the conditions and students' educational experience in a school as old as Spring Valley, built in the 80s, and Park Hill, which opened in 2022. As you can see in these committee meeting photos, from lighting to AV to furniture and flooring. Literally from top to bottom, older campuses like Spiegelville, that was built in the 50s, are facing critical infrastructure like roofs, HVAC, plumbing, and flooring, as well as major factors affecting the educational environment like lighting, technology, air quality, and furniture. As someone whose children have attended Woodway Elementary, Hewitt Elementary, the Midway Middle School, Midway High School, I thought I had a good sense of what our campuses looked like and how they felt. But visiting South Bosque truly shocked me. I had never been inside before, and I wasn't prepared for how outdated and worn out that campus felt. It was a wake-up call. Here's a look at capital improvements needed in the next 5 years by campus. Each campus has a Facility Condition Index, or FCI score, which is a rating system of how much the value of the facility is to construct versus the estimated cost for end-of-life replacements. Facility audits conducted by Alpha Facility Solutions revealed that some campuses currently score as poor as 23% on the Facility Condition Index, meaning the cost to replace failing systems is rising quickly compared to the facility's worth. And over the next 5 years, some are projected to deteriorate to as low as 37%. Here's a look at how that breaks down by category and cost. I want to point out that a large portion of these projected expenses aren't for improvements. They're just to catch up on deferred maintenance. These are systems that have already reached or passed their expected lifespans. To be clear, Midway's operations team has done an exceptional job of stretching these systems for as long as possible, replacing parts, repairing what they can, but we reached a point where patching up just isn't enough. It's not going to work. We need to start investing in long-term sustainable solutions. In addition to critical construction infrastructure, operational systems like technology and program spaces have significant needs. We live in a world now where technology is not only a learning tool, but a safety system. We have critical needs to maintain normal operations, and this includes our door locks, visitor screening, safety lighting, security cameras, data protection, internet filters, and communication systems. Our society changes, our student population has grown, programs have been added, and technology has evolved. We have needs ranging from security and lighting at the stadium and PAC and other event facilities to needs to updated spaces for literal elbow room. Modern plumbing, accessibility, such as shown in these photos of the high school locker rooms and training spaces. This work has been a labor of love, and we've looked at every angle, walked the halls, and dug into the data, and what we're bringing to you tonight is more than a bond proposal. It's a reflection of what our students, teachers, and community deserve. Thank you. I now have Dave Deaconson.
Good evening, Board. I think almost every one of you sitting up there, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about me anyway. I was on Midway Education Foundation for 18 years. I just rolled off this past January. Volunteered at Midway High School, coaching their mock trial team for 8 years, have 2 great Midway graduates. And now I think I'm on this committee because I'm one of the older people. Kids are gone, and they wanted some old folks looking in. I'm here because I'm still committed. I think Midway is a top-notch, and we should continue to be top-notch school district. It's best for everybody, and we're here to help the kids. So what I'm here to talk to you about is money, the financing side of things, something that you guys have had to go through. And I'm preaching to the choir, I understand this, but I'm also talking to other folks as we give this presentation. We've got our two buckets of financing, the M&O and the INS, and really what we are tasked to do is first off understand the tax rates, how they interplay, what you can put in each bucket and what you can't put in each bucket, and then use that as we prepared our proposals for the bond in a way that we could help alleviate the school district in ways that you could take money out of the M&O bucket and put it in the INS bucket, so you could then free up additional funds for teachers, for students, for the educational purpose, which you guys are trying to do. First off, we also want to compliment your school board and all the past school boards. Not many people can say, and I know part of it is compression, but a lot of it and most of it, as far as tax rate reduction, has gone because of how the boards have handled our finances. Our last bond where we were able to pay things off well in advance, save $25 million. So we've actually seen as residents a 38-cent tax decrease over the last 20 years. That's something that we're all proud of, but we also know you guys got to have more tools to help. So that's what we're also here today. So challenges. We just heard about the public financing. We know the legislature does what the legislature does. We don't always understand, don't always agree, but we have to deal with that. You guys are tasked with funding a school district and trying not to get it in the red. We know that isn't always possible. That's another reason why we're here with the bond package, to try to help that. Part of the facilities, as you've heard, we've got aging facilities. We've got things that really got to be addressed. We want to be forward-looking, and one of the things we all know is, and Brad Alford certainly knows this, is the longer you wait, the more everything's going to cost construction-wise. So if we can look at things that will benefit us in the years coming, but do it at a more current cost, we can get more bang for our buck and we can do more for the school district. I'm using my cheat sheet because I go off and they told me to stay on task. So the committee, we looked at and you know, the challenge in the budget efficiency. And one of the things that we all know, that is the older facilities cost more to run, cost more to operate, are less efficient, and then we end up using more dollars for fewer students. So part of what we learned is Spiegelville Elementary, for instance, costs almost $2,000 per student more per year to operate. So that's something that we factored in as we were considering which direction the committee was going to recommend. So the challenges, timing factors, you know, we studied how timing affects decisions, cost between the needs for space, the optimal space, deferred maintenance, how far can you go, what do you really need, construction timing, and then really the increase, and all that tempered with, we got to be consistent across all the campuses. So we took all those factors you've heard about, and we identified 3 priorities. Ahmad is going to tell you how we came about that, but I'm going to tell you what those 3 priorities are real quickly. The first is we got to make space for growth. You heard Brian talk about the anticipated growth. You heard Brian talk about the fact that we're already at functional capacity. We're having to max capacity in a lot of grade levels at classes or at campuses, and so therefore we have to turn students away or redirect students. So that was part of it. We have to figure out ways to expand campuses, new construction, reconstituting things in an efficient way so those campuses can become more efficiently utilized. And then we just got to catch up on some of these campuses because we haven't been able to invest in those campuses for years. Second priority is ensuring quality of the facilities, and that is, as you heard, taking the South Bosques and some of these other campuses that are 40 years old and making them functional, making them efficient, and making it where the students want to learn, and being consistent and efficient and fair across the board. So that was, and now I'm going to turn it back over to Ahmad, so Ahmad can tell you how we determined these top 3 priorities when we went forward.
Thank you. Let me say this, and I just want to acknowledge the fact that prioritizing these very important things was complex, but it was meaningful, and it was some real work. It was taking the ways that we were educated over the first 3 sessions, some things I didn't know anything about, language and M&O and all that good stuff, and so like give me a crash course in three sessions, and then taking that through discussion, through dialogue with our committee members, and coming to a place where we can make decisions that were, again, both heartfelt but also logical, also full of facts. Every project had merit that we considered. Our task was to weigh what to do now and what to plan for later. This was not about what was nice or what was going to look good. This was about what was necessary for students and this district's future. As we went through the course of these experiences over the last few months, our understanding evolved. There were 3 focused meetings that we ended on in 4, 5, and 6. And just to tell you a little bit about those meetings, meeting 4 was our initial reactions to the project, list of needs, and our honest gut level responses based upon our personal experiences and our community, the lens through which we looked at the community. Meeting number 5, we defined priority areas, and we asked, to what extent does this project impact the goals that we had set early on in the earlier meetings? And meeting 6, we faced real decisions and had to choose between strong options based upon the impact on students and their learning, the urgency of the need, and then the cost and the feasibility of what was being considered. From options to recommendations. We sorted projects into 3 categories: recommend now if affordable, and consider for future planning. What emerged from the process was recommendation packages that reflect student-centered thinking, strategic use of resources, and community responsibility. The result was 96% consensus among committee members. Powerful proof of a shared purpose. I can't get 50% to decide on what we're gonna eat at the house. and this meant everybody was locked in. I don't know what sacrifices people made to be there, to have those conversations, getting off work, don't know what their family lives were like, but they showed up present and very intentional about the conversations and the things that we processed during that time. My bad. Just some final thoughts. We didn't just decide in a vacuum. We listened to the broader community. We invited input on prioritization strategies, proposed solutions, and funding preferences. What the community told us was their top priorities were safety and security, equity of experience across campuses, and upgrading and modernizing aging facilities. And there was strong support for proactive planning, not just reactive and problem solving once the problem got out of hand, but being proactive in our approach. The process wasn't easy, but it was necessary. We balanced our heart and our heads, our emotions, our logic, and our responsibility. What we're bringing to you today is not a wish list. It has been well considered. It is a unified vision for Midway ISD's future. Our message is clear. Let's act now, not only for today's students, but for tomorrow's students, tomorrow's families, and tomorrow's community that are a part of Midway ISD. Here you go, Jordan.
All right. So it is the Facility Study Committee's recommendation that the school board consider calling a bond election for approximately $175.3 million to be on the November 4th, 2025 ballot with a 0 tax rate increase. After studying the needs, financial implications, growth projections, and more, the committee prioritized projects, as Maud alluded to. After detailed deliberations, we also made adjustments to the scope and cost of some projects to balance expenses for a well-rounded package that addresses 2 main areas, including infrastructure needs and student experience. Primary, and a lot of these things kind of intermingle. They're both infrastructure needs and student experience. But primary infrastructure improvements or infrastructure needs include elementary growth, construction for elementary growth, campus utilization updates for better use of current space, significant capital improvements to address things like HVAC, plumbing, roofing that y'all heard about earlier, as well as technology, including data center infrastructure, a disaster recovery site, classroom and student technology, as well as campus networking, and as well as operations needing new buses and equipment. For student experience, that also included things in fine arts, including technology, security, classroom equipment, elementary stage and audiovisual improvements, high school theater and River Valley middle stage improvements, as well as renovations to the Performing Arts Center. On athletics, we also recommend technology, security, gym and locker room updates at the high school, as well as repairs, equipment, and lighting across athletic facilities. Here's a look at the enrollment numbers and how they would be affected at the elementary campuses. We are recommending a new replacement campus for Spiegelville Elementary to be built on a different property that is built to open with 500 students, with core space of 750 students that could be expanded in the future. We are also recommending additions at Spring Valley Elementary that would allow for another 250 students. We also listened to our committee and our community survey guidance to improve and enhance the functional capacity at multiple campuses in utilization improvements at 4 schools right there. To summarize, these projects would happen at the following campuses: Spiegelville, Spring Valley, South Bosque, Woodway, Hewitt, Castleman Creek, and Midway High School. This is a map showing land that the district already owns for a replacement Spiegelville Elementary to better serve the Highway 84 corridor housing growth. Notably, this location will have water and sewer services that the current location does not have. It should be noted that the current Spiegelville Elementary location cannot be expanded due to limited utility and septic services. Moving to capital improvements, nearly every campus would receive significant funding for infrastructure improvements, as well as improvements to learning environments. Significantly outdated and dysfunctional furniture at campuses over 25-year-old would be replaced. Every single campus would benefit from items including safety and technology infrastructure, classroom technology, fine arts equipment, buses as well. As Ahmad said, this bond package reaches every corner of the district to meet the committee's prioritized targets. This includes items including, but not limited to, distributing capacity across the district. It addresses growth along Highway 84 in Spiegelville, but it also addresses growth by Park Hill and Hewitt. It catches up on an undersized Midway High School gym and locker rooms. It should be noted that our 2 middle schools have 3 gyms, while our high school has not added a 3rd gym since opening it and expanding by nearly 800 students. This also allows for better utilization of current square footage. It significantly lowers concerning facility conditions, and on the flip side, prevents further deterioration. It's a significant improvement in safety and technology. It also protects the annual budget from big ticket items like pipe burst, we haven't had one of those before, server failures, and most importantly, it prioritizes the budget for student needs over major equipment purchases. The committee is recommending limiting this package to a 0 tax rate increase. As a reminder, voters will see required language on the ballot about a property tax increase, which refers to the approximately $175 million being invested for these projects. However, as presented, taxpayers will not see a tax rate increase due to this bond. As you have heard earlier from the other presenters, we have to act now to open up a campus in the fall of 2028, starting with your consideration of this proposal this summer. The next election is November 4th. Should it pass, it would take the next 2 to 3 years to design and construct school spaces. During that same time period, work would also need to continue at the district level to plan for attendance zone changes, staffing changes, and enduring yet another legislative session that could affect school funding.
Could,
yeah. As mentioned, this committee heard and considered nearly $300 million of needs and desired projects for Midway. But not everything can or should be done now. Long-range planning for the district is recommended to take everything that was not included in this package and studying when and if these items need to be addressed. Those items include capital improvements beyond 3 years, secondary growth plan, addressing projects that we did not prioritize in our recommendation, including transportation, additional space, and specialized facilities, as well as other needs that we don't even know about yet. Above in your screen is a couple of comments from some of the committee members, and I just want to say on behalf of this committee, it has been an absolute honor and joy to serve the students of Midway ISD. And y'all can read those at your discretion. In closing, we would like to emphasize that as a community, we can choose to use INS funding to ensure our schools can meet the expectations and priorities that we have come to value from Midway ISD. This is a form of local control and parent choice that we have. We are here to represent the voice of our community, here to make the recommendation that we maintain, grow, and equip our schools properly, here to recommend utilization of bond funds so you can all deal with annual funding challenges, and here to recommend a bright future for the students and staff of Midway ISD. Thank you so much for your time, and we are happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Jordan. The floor is open, folks.
Can we just give them a round of applause?
Thank you. Thank you.
Before we get into that, let me just remind the board, as y'all have heard, some of us were there, if not on the board, otherwise participating. The board had significant time spent before we called the last bond election. This one, there's a lot to digest here. Obviously, this is a presentation item tonight. Y'all know we've got a special called meeting and not one, but two more regular meetings before it would actually be on the agenda at our August 12th regular meeting, second Tuesday of the month as opposed to third, for potential action by the board. So I'm not saying that to discourage questions tonight, but just keep in mind, tonight's just the first step for the board, just like the committee had that first meeting.
Yes, sir.
So, questions, comments, discussion.
Do we have somewhere in this packet of information the items that, you said you considered $300 million worth of projects, those that did not make it on the final list, do we have that available?
Yes, we can get all of those. We have all that documented.
Yeah.
And just, I know, I'm looking at Emily, all of the materials that the committee had for all of the meetings are all available online. So if you want to do a deep dive into what the committee saw, it's all there. And not only is it all there for us, but the transparency for the public is really important. I mean, anybody that wants to look and see all of the things that Jordan talked about, and Ahmad talked about, and Dave, everybody, it's all there. So.
Yeah, and it's funny because that's what I was going to point out is that the two things that struck me about having watched you guys from afar go through this process, because we've been hearing a little bit, as things have gone along. Number one is just the transparency, and I think that's tremendous that that the district conducted this process in this way, so that really everyone in the community that wants to step up and they weren't on the committee, but they kind of want to be involved. They want to learn more. It's all there. And so that's, we're all happy to answer questions from community. I'm sure you guys are too, but honestly, the information's there. And so that has been tremendous to see that as it's gone. And really the second thing that I wanted to say for me is going into this process, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, boy, a lot of this is going to be about the timing for a second high school. And I'm really grateful for the depth of work that you guys did and the data that you've delved into to really figure out hey, that's not really the number one question to ask right now, right? And so it's not even a question of what do we do, that's not even the question yet. You know, the question is, how do we fix the facilities we have so that they're the quality they need to be? You know, what do we do today and in the next 3 to 5 years to make sure we're positioned to continue to grow, so that the fact that I know it was in the back of everyone's mind, probably in that committee, right?
Absolutely.
Because I looked at the list and I could tell you where people probably thought about that, but the fact that it wasn't really even part of this process in the end, I think is tremendous, so that you have helped focus us on what matters right now. So
Yes, sir.
thank you for doing that.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, as you guys talked as a committee, I mean, what do you think are going to be the objections that we're going to hear from the public?
Great question. I would say on the community survey, some of the athletic stuff didn't kind of, hit as well. But the survey was different from a typical bond survey too. It was more of a general ideas, not a specific projects. So the community may have been thinking of something completely different when they were filling out the survey than what we're talking about. The gym and the locker rooms are significantly outdated at the high school. And leaking water, I got to tour it. Billy did as well with me. Principal Smith, she's still here. She gave us a private tour.
I was there too, Jordan.
Oh,
I'm like, you leave
sorry,
me
Jonathan.
out? Come on.
Jonathan was there too. I'm so sorry.
No, you're
but that was eye-opening to me to see water just running constantly, and then thinking of hearing conversations about M&O funds and how that's impacting, and I'm just going, that's M&O funds running out the door. So that was one thing that I think from the community piece might be a little struggle, but I think phrasing it and showing what it really is. It's not, a Allen High School football or, stadium. It's really needed for growth. And plus having 3 gyms at the middle schools and the high school only having 2, I think that was eye-opening as well.
From a historical perspective, some of y'all may recall in the 2019 bond that we called the locker room issue was something that was a high priority on that list. But as you know, and we know, we have this list of projects and this many resources. And so having been through that a couple of times, I remember saying it back then, I feel like we're having to cut the baby's arms and legs off to fit the cradle. So I appreciate the hard work it is, as Ahmad referred to, of choosing not to do some things. That's not taken lightly, because those things are important too. Absolutely. But at the end of the day, we have to make it work with what we have. And I appreciate just the deliberation that has to go into that, because it's not easy.
No, it wasn't.
And I was just she mentioned the historical perspective. We can use that if we do decide to go forward with this, because the locker rooms, the gyms, the soccer fields, buses, a lot of those things were on the last committee looking for our last bond package, and they were put aside because they were decided we couldn't do them at that time. So if we can remind the community that these are not new issues, we've had these for quite a while.
They've been deferred.
So I like the fact that y'all brought those back and putting some focus on it, because that was something we wanted to do back then. But I reiterate what they all said. Thank you all. I know it's hard, it's a lot, it's confusing, it's overwhelming, and you want to do the best for the students and the staff and our community. And that's what we all try to do. So thank you all for helping us point in the right direction. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I appreciate the fact that you mentioned, and Ahmad mentioned as well, is that the M&O versus INS aspect of things is that, I mean, people that were here saw that that Wesley presented a budget, with a deficit of $3.5 million. I mean, that's all M&O stuff. And so if we have to spend our M&O money on fixing all this capital stuff, that's just going to make that number bigger. And so to recognize that, to be able to issue a bond and take that money and spend it through a bond, which coincidentally won't increase the tax rate at all, is going to really alleviate the pressure on the M&O side. Because if a pipe bursts, I mean, we don't have a bond to pay for that at the moment. So we're going to have to pay that at M&O. And so I thought it was just really, really good forward thinking of the committee and just everybody involved to have that in the back of the mind, because we are under a pretty significant pressure on the M&O side because of the the letdown of the legislature, for lack of a better way of saying it. So, I mean, I think it's fantastic, and I really echo what everybody else said and just really appreciate all the effort that all you guys put into it, so.
Dr. Allen, could you refresh our memory about some of the facility issues that we had as we tried to open the last school year? I recall there were a couple of things that we had to deal with.
Oh, gosh, y'all gonna have to help me remember, but like, at one point, and I can't remember why I was talking about, it was when we were talking about facility study. At one point, we had the power out at Hewitt, and we had to completely rerun power to Hewitt, all 3 phases. We lost all the power at MMS because of a blown transformer. We lost every transformer at Spiggleville Elementary. We had a water main pipe break at Spiggleville the first day of school a year ago, which caused us to not have school that day there. We had a water line break at the high school in the spring. South Bosque, we did 4 HVAC units at South Bosque in the last year.
We also did the high school's HVACs a couple of years ago.
Significant reno HVAC at the high school. It's just been we've just kind of been one thing after the other here for a little while.
I seem to recall we had a pipe burst at South Bosque and they had to delay school opening.
First day of school.
For a day.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, so when
Yep.
you talk about quality of life and student services, it's in real time. And
Yes,
we've had,
We've been
we
playing catch
can
up.
use our resources and our staff a lot more purposefully than not chasing around fixing things and not being able to open school for the day.
Well, I know I don't need to belabor the point, but Ken and I talk about this all the time. Our maintenance department's a repair department, which means they're not actually getting to do the maintenance, which puts you behind in terms of maintaining the long-term quality of that equipment over time, and you get in this doom loop. And I think what the committee's recommended is that the board authorize an opportunity to go get some resources to get out of that and get back into a place where everything is back up to current, and then we can be back into maintenance mode. Preventative maintenance instead of reactive repair.
I don't know if we can project this, but you ask us for questions going forward, and I would love to, if there's any way we can see some projections at all of what this would relieve on our M&O side, the potential savings that we could look at realizing if we do these things.
Yes, ma'am, we can do that.
Because that will close that $3.5 million gap if we're not spending money on things that we can fix with this bond.
Actually, the situation's worse than that. We don't have money budgeted to solve these problems.
Right.
At all.
Right.
So if we don't do this to INS issues, it's not about making the 3.5 go down. It's about it's going to escalate in the opposite direction.
Right.
Well, and I would just have to disagree with you, Dr. Allen, and Mr. Green, because ultimately the deficit that we budget can't continue to escalate because the fund balance can't sustain it.
That's true. Right.
We're gonna have to spend money on those things to be able to open and have school, and we're gonna not spend money in other areas because we don't have it. That's what's gonna happen.
Right.
I stand corrected.
So-
Applied disagreement.
When you're right, sir.
Well, Colin, yeah, I think you made the point that this is the most pessimistic version of the budget that we're looking at, only if nothing breaks.
Well,
That's
Right.
that's true. I also said I wouldn't hold Dr. Allen to that specifically. But, I just think this is great. I really appreciate this, and I know that we have, like you said, some opportunities later this summer to really delve into this, and I imagine we'll have questions and about specifics on this, but I think this is a tremendous effort, so.
Yeah.
I have one question that's more kind of lighthearted, I guess, but on the proposal of everything that the committee sort of recommends, what was the one thing that was overwhelmingly, I know 96%, like Ahmad said, approves putting it towards the board, but was there one thing that like everybody was like, yes, absolutely, that's 100% what we need to do? Is there anything that jumps out that?
IT and security. Those were the top ones.
Okay.
And it was 100%.
Okay.
Correct? Yeah.
Okay. That's a good question, because I wouldn't have thought that.
Other comments?
No, just say thank you because y'all have been educated in school finance, which most of our community don't know, and if they do know, they don't understand.
And
so
so much
it would be
fun.
very helpful to have y'all go forward with whatever we do propose
We're gonna send
next.
some people to you instead of us answering questions.
You can
Which
educate
we'll
your
still do,
friends.
but,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and I know Jordan's had an opportunity to come in front of us before, but for the rest of you, well, I guess Dave has too, but Ahmad and Ashley, standing in front of the board is a little intimidating, and we hear a lot of presentations, and that this was so well-crafted and articulate and thorough, and, you know, most people would rather, the funeral, I'd rather be in the casket than giving the eulogy. So I appreciate just you getting up here and being so articulate and passionate and very informative. That's a high bar to clear, and you passed it, you know, state championship level, so.
I don't know if
Kudos.
that much, but thank you.
Future board members, maybe.
Future board members.
Future board members.
Okay, yeah, you heard it, he said it.
I'm going to make one brief observation, and then if nobody else has anything, we'll move on to our other presentations on athletics and fine arts. And historically, when the Midway Board is called bond elections, they've really been almost kind of single purpose, you know, to address needed growth, that sort of thing, and just for an item, right? Certainly 2019. One of the things that makes this one so unique, and I think the opportunity so pressing, is this is a lot like a multi-tool, because this thing has the potential to serve so many very, very important functions. Moving money from the M&O side to the INS side, addressing those long-term maintenance and facility needs, addressing the equity across the campus, as well as addressing the growth. And that's just huge, and we need the continued support of the committee to carry that message to the community. So thank y'all.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, if not, Brad, you're back up again. Let's see you top what you just did.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I'll do my best. Ms. Wynn told me I had 10 minutes, so I'm gonna go through as fast as I can. But those that have been here like the last 10 years, 10 minutes, I've never made it 10 minutes, so I'm gonna do my very best. So I'm just gonna jump in, but stop me if you have any questions. This year we won 13 district championships. It would be easier to recite the ones that we didn't win, to be honest. I don't mean that boastfully. I mean, it's just the reality of it. We've done very well in our district. We have 3 runner-up trophies. Girls cross country, boys golf won second place. That's only because our first team, boys first team, won first place. And then football was second place as well. So I'm not going to read all these to you, sake of time, but I'll just say this is the first year with Coach Gillespie running our football program, serving as our campus coordinator. He came last spring, but he's been here about 13 months or so. I don't know how good we'll be next year, but man, I'm really thrilled that we have him here. His leadership, the quality of character and man that he is, and on top of that, he's hired really good assistant coaches that are also teachers, people that we'll be really proud to have around our kids. And I'm really excited about the future. Like I said, I don't know how many games we'll win next year, but he's doing a really, really good job. Cross country's done well. Coach Cap does an amazing job. Coach Porter, volleyball's done very well again. Aqua Dan does both of these. Dan Marlin, water polo and swim for us. Another, really good year. 27 kids to regionals. One breaking news from the other day from the UIL. We've had water polo here for many, many years. So participated as a club. Then we participated in UIL as a pilot program. They removed the pilot, so water polo is here for the foreseeable future. So we're excited about that, and it adds some validity, not any more validity necessarily, but it's here. It's no longer a pilot program, so we're excited about that. Honestly, girls basketball had a little bit of a down year getting third place. Played a really tough team that played in the state championship game in the first round. Played them really tough the first half. They kind of got away from us a little bit in the second half. We were leading in the first quarter and real close by halftime. Boys basketball, you may have heard we've had a coaching change there. Much appreciation to Coach McDade. He came into a program and really revitalized the culture, pumping character or mentorship into that program. But moving forward, we got Coach Saman, and I'm telling you, he's hit the ground running. He's a great, great man, a lot of integrity, man of faith, and I'm really excited. There's a lot of genuine enthusiasm around that program right now with camp numbers and skill work, and really excited to see what that's going to bring to us. So, soccer, 2 great years, district championships again. It is the 3rd consecutive district championship for Coach Barrientos in that program, and then back-to-back soccer championships on the boys' side for Coach Kaler and that group. And they graduated a tremendous amount of talent in their senior class last year. So winning it again this year was pretty exciting and a lot of fun to see. Those kids really worked hard. Girls golf, Peyton Carter's pictured here. She was one shot away from making the state tournament in the 6A level out of regionals. She's a junior, so she's got another shot at it, fortunately, but she's a great young golfer. Team won district, competed very well at regionals. Boys golf, again, district champions, runners-up as well. Track, we've had a track athlete qualify for state in a sprint, which hasn't happened here in a long, long time. You know, being around this area for a while, football, basketball, track are really competitive. Not only in Central Texas, but going through Region 2 with Duncanville and Cedar Hill and I-20 corridor, even out in East Texas, really, really talented athletes through that area. And so for us, winning second in track, I was really proud of that on the girls' side. Boys competed really well. Our young groups did really well. But getting Keaton out as a sophomore in 200 at state was really pretty cool for him. So tennis, the 23rd straight district championship for them. Made it to the regional semifinals, got beat by the Woodlands, or College Park out of the Woodlands. And then in the spring, you know, they have the 2 seasons. They have the fall season and the spring season. Spring season's individual. We got 6 out of the 10 spots going to regionals, won 4 out of the 5 district championships there. Then obviously baseball and softball. One thing I would add about baseball and softball, going through the playoffs, you know, we're the 6A Division I state championship, which is the biggest classification. We have 2,600 kids, you know, 26 plus. The teams that we played on average had about 44, 45, huge. I mean, at least double our size. Conroe, for example, for baseball and softball, they have 5,500 kids in that high school. So even, you know, winning any state championship is great, but winning in Division I against those kind of mammoth student bodies is really, really something to be proud of. These are our state qualifiers from the year. Obviously, baseball and softball again. Powerlifting, Andrew Bonner, Trent Ingram. Cross country, we had Caleb McCarver qualify. That's Keaton in the middle. Bella Ginch, powerlifting from the girls' side. And then on swim, Ben Blaylock, he actually qualified in 2 events, the 50 and the 100, which is really, really cool. So good year, great representation at the state level. This is one that I show every year that I'm really proud of. Our goal is to have about 1/3 of the student population participate in athletics at the high school. This is just high school numbers. So we had about 909, which is a little higher. We've done some things throughout the year, adding a team to volleyball, adding a team to boys basketball. We will be adding wrestling, bless you, as a UIL sport next year. They participated as a club the last 2 years. And moving forward, there'll be a UIL sport, so that'll increase this number a little bit. Our Super Syntex, you see those All-State. That All-State's not accurate because we added a few softball and baseball kids tonight that just came out this week, so that number doesn't reflect that. And then our passing rate. You know, I'm a big believer. We talked about it a lot. Dr. Allen and I talked about it a lot, how valuable athletic is in getting kids to come to school and motivating them and holding them accountable. Our passing rate is 96.2. That means we have 96.2 kids are passing each 6 weeks. And that's not just during their season. Like, it's easy to have a high passing rate during football season or basketball season. But holding those kids accountable and those programs accountable when it's off season is something we're really proud of. So this is not just 96% during their season. This is all year long in every program. So that is something we're very, very proud of. Signing day, if you look close in the top right picture, girl wearing that Commerce shirt, that's Ahmad's daughter, the homecoming queen. So, 25 students from across a variety of sports, from track, volleyball, football, baseball, softball, had 25 signed letter of intent to play at the next level, which is obviously something we're very proud of and glad those kids got to achieve that dream and keep working towards having success at the next level.
Brian, isn't that a big, what kind of a jump does that represent from the last previous school year, do you know?
It's pretty close. We've had as many as 29. We've had as low as 20 in the last couple of years. So it's right around average for us, give or take 1 or 2. So.
But it feels like the trend is up.
Yeah, I mean, I think last year we had 27, so it's right there. So, but over the last 5 or 6 years, absolutely.
That's what I'm thinking of. Thank you.
Community service, we ask all of our programs to perform some sort of community service. Personally, I try to get them to do things that have a little sweat equity in them. Can drives, things like clothing drives are great, very, very needed. We want to expose our kids to some other avenues out there and have a little sweat equity when they're starting doing community projects. So we do a variety of things. Each program kind of gets to decide. But we've got pictured here, you know, nursing homes. We've got little kid camps. We did a buddy program in baseball this year, Little League camp, fuzzy friends with tennis, cleanups, late cleanups, HOT cleanups, getting ready for those seasons at the HOT soccer field. So, you know, service is absolutely one of our core values, and this is one of the ways we bring that into their lives. So I tell some people sometimes in athletics, it's like running a small business sometimes, a small corporation. This is the Booster Club revenue from this year. We brought in 521 with a net profit of 300, and we were able to award over 21,000 in scholarships. This was our board this past year. We'll have one change moving forward. James Satterfield is rolling off, and Sean Carter, who happens to be the father of the golfer, Peyton Carter, will take over as president moving forward next year. So they work incredibly hard, oversee a lot of things. If you've gotten shirts or media guides, concession stand items, that is all run through the Booster Club. So they are a tremendous help, not only providing resources, but just making things go. Hall of Fame class this year, I always throw this in there. We inducted the 2008 4A state champion relay team. Very, very exciting night for those kids. Had a lot of fun seeing those guys. I've been here long enough now that all of these kids are people that we had come through here. So it's getting a little different vantage point for me. It's kind of exciting to see those kids come back. Hosted events, so these are non-Midway events. We hosted 27, sold 11,000 tickets, brought in 85 grand. There are two major events that are not included in this number in Ron Math, but which is TAP State track and then our regional track. I mean, those are huge events for us and for the city. I mean, there's our thousands. At TAP's track, there'll be 10,000 people at Panther Stadium that are staying multiple days. So hotels, eateries, restaurants, Hewitt Drive, all benefits from those things. Regional track is huge. The way we finance it, we rent that stadium instead of running those tickets through ours. So we categorize the income a little bit different, so it's not reflected in here. But those events are a huge task for us to undertake. Now, these are our home events. You know, you have 178 school days, thereabout, something like that. We had 174 events, multiple events on days. We sold 50,000 tickets, 500,000 revenue. And that 500,000, that's a lot of $4 and $2 tickets, you know, coming through the door. And then something we started a couple years ago, talking to Wesley, we created a student pass and a parent pass. I think it's great for our community. It helps bring people to other events. So, you know, $20 or $40, you get a pass that can come to anything, with the exception of varsity football, because we have to know that gate. We have to have an accurate gate count to pay officials out of varsity football. But everything else that gets them into. And I think that's a good benefit to our community and students, just trying to generate more support, come out and watch our kids participate. These are actually sorry, that's a typo. It's 2024 numbers. We're still in the midst of summer camps and strength and conditioning right now, so I don't have accurate numbers. So I pulled last year's, and then next year I'll include the 25 camp. But we had 1,400 kids participate in sport camp. That's kids from pre-K, first grade, on up through ninth grade, incoming ninth graders. And then strength and conditioning is for incoming 7th through 12th graders. So there are multiple days in June where we have camps in strength and conditioning that we'll have 1,000 kids running around the high school, the MAC, our playing fields. And then when we get to July, that's our strength and conditioning only. So we'll have 500 kids, that's boys and girls, coming to work out every day, Monday through Thursday. So. I talked about this a little bit last year. We were putting this in action. This is the MYSA, or Midway Youth Sports Association. Really proud of the work this group did. You see down in the red, we started with flag football. We had 195 students, Midway students, playing flag football at Rice Field on the weekends. Kevin Summers oversaw that, but we have a board that's dedicated to football. We have a board dedicated to basketball, and then our executive board ran that. And then we had 473 basketball students, including 147 girls, play basketball at the middle school on Saturdays. So that's something that we continue to look at, figure out ways to become more efficient. But we try to keep that cost as low as possible. It's a 501 organization, so we're not trying to make money. There's no salaries associated. We're trying to provide opportunities to play ball at the lowest cost possible to this community. And these are for Midway kids, so it's not people up and down I-35 coming to participate. This is truly for Midway students. So, man, that's it. That had to have been under 10 minutes.
That's it. Thank you, Brad.
Write that down. That's any questions from the board?
I wanted to add something anecdotally for those who may not know. Michelle Pullen,
yes,
who served a fair amount of time leading our quarterback club, graduated 4 high school students who all played football, including Cash Pullen, our starting quarterback from this past season. She and her husband, as I believe, served on the facility study committee with you guys, and that level of engagement just really excites me about that's a lot of time that she and her family have given 100% to the school. And
if you're not sure who Michelle is, she was the one that was working her tail off at every Friday night while the kid was playing quarterback. I mean, she was definitely committed to the Booster Club, the quarterback club, and making sure we had the best experiences for those kids. Yeah, very grateful for the
I'm
Polos.
happy to say Cash is recovering well. from
Recovering
this
well, and
injury.
excited to see him play at UMHB next year.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, so,
So, had a heck of a season until he got hurt.
yeah. But the testimony he has and the attitude he's taken is a testament to him and to his family,
100%.
for raising a fine young man, so.
Great family.
All right,
Anything else?
thank you, Brad.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Good job. You might need those. Daryl, Fine Arts.
Good evening. I was told I had to be done by 9 o'clock, so I will do it. Thank you. Good night. No, not at all. I appreciate this opportunity to speak to everybody. I do have some fun things to share. There's a lengthy PDF in your packet talking about all of the nitty-gritty details. I'm just going to hit the high points so that we can, and am I going to push the wrong button? There we go. A quick glance. We continue to provide incredible fine arts education across the board. Our art students, I've added dance and guard as one package now that our dance program is growing and our color guard program is growing, as well as theater, and it continues to grow, as we'll talk about that here as we get towards the end. We've had some exceptional achievements. Your packet has the full list, the big rundown, but these are the ones that we're the most proud of. Some ACDA choir members, 16 TMEA All-State members, UIL One Act Play region finalist, outstanding TSSEC is Texas State Solo and Ensemble Contest that happens over Memorial Weekend, and so we've celebrated art, band, choir, orchestra, theater, the whole gamut across this year.
Daryl, can you remind us, because I remember the recognition at that board meeting, our all-state musicians, what kind of record that set for Midway in the state?
It's the highest that Midway's had, and then this past February, I want to say that we were number 3 or 4 in numbers of all-state kids. We're certainly the most choir kids, but there are some programs that have 17 or so band kids.
Keep in mind, we have 8,800 students, and we're in the running with that, for that, that recognition with districts that have 90 to 100,000 kids.
Exactly.
So-
That's the same thing. When we compare like athletics in that state championship, when we're comparing Midway to Katy ISD
Exactly.
or
That's what I was
Keller
thinking of.
or those ISDs and not just high schools, it's pretty phenomenal. We are blessed to have great facilities. We're blessed to have great staff that work in those facilities and take care of our kids. We've run nearly 200 performances, many more rehearsals, preparations. We've hosted just about everything, or we continue to host just about everything, including One Act Play, band, choir, UIL, all-region Waco Youth Symphony, band auditions, you name it, we're hosting it at Midway. The biggest reason behind that is our staff. Our staff are hospitable, we're kind, we treat everybody with respect. Then there's the location in our facilities. But UIL, and I'm speaking for UIL and TMEA, they want to come to Midway because of the people that are here more so than the fact that it's close to I-35. We also still utilize our PAC and high school theater, but PAC mainly for elementary programs, grades 3, 4, and 5. We moved Castleman Creek over for the first time for their 5th grade follies, and we had about 700 attend, parents. So you can just imagine 700 people over at Castleman's cafeteria. So when it becomes to the point that we're going to have to either tell people they can't attend or close it down, we're trying to find ways to squeeze them in to the PAC. If we could get a 9-day week and a 36-hour day, we could do K through. But we're already taxed pretty hard. We still rent our facilities out. We don't rent it out as much. We still have some major dance recitals that come in and take care of us. Joy School of Dance, Baylor, Expressions just down the road, things like that. We host some competitions that are not our students, 3A area one act play. Every once in a while we host TAPS. It just depends on the calendar. Our kids come first, and we will not rent the space out if there's something midway going on. We also will look at, when a group comes in, if they will utilize midway students. And so that's been very beneficial when we have somebody come in and say, yeah, we'll let the choir sing on our concert. Okay, great, we'll bring you in. We still continue to use our streaming services and record everything. We're blessed with that. The use of ESSER funds got it started, and then we just keep going. Frozen Junior was a hit and a half. I had no idea it would be that big of a show and have that great of a turnout. We met all of our goals educationally. We met all of our goals with finances. We actually made a little bit of money that we spread out amongst our groups. The things that I'm most proud of, and Dr. Allen was actually there for one of these, we had the opportunity to perform Frozen Junior for first and second graders.
Oh.
And so we just bit the bullet and bust them all over. And the principals were on board, and we bust everybody over, and we did a performance for those kids who were screaming best day ever as they were leaving the pack. That's because we have staff that want to work together. In your packet is the list of everybody that was involved in a quote-unquote junior production. We lost some great folks to retirement. I do like to mention that the Rices have moved on, and Mike Davenport, who had been teaching for forever, only 10, 12 years at Midway, but 30 some odd at other places. And so they'll be missed, but they leave a legacy that we're going to fill without any problem, I think. These are who we've moved into positions. Caleb Overstreet is the head high school. Kayla Torp from Midway Middle over to associate. Drew Jackson, who is a younger teacher who's taught at Spiegelville. Terrence Guerrero is going to take over for Dr. Benson. Megan Gackel is going to move over from River Valley to Midway Middle School.
Lynn's daughter?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Good
And
call.
Christopher Orr is a new hire who comes to us. He's a Baylor grad, but we're real excited about having him. So the future is going to be great. We've got whole lots of different blood, and I won't say young or old, but it's just different. The important thing for us as a team is we're ever forward. It might turn a little left or a little right, but we're always going forward. As we grow with our dance, especially in our band programs, we are still pushing for the artistic achievement that we've always had and will continue to have. With our changes in staff, excuse me, my throat's going crazy. With our changes in staff, we will continue to push and do the best that we can in those achievements. Our programs are growing, and we know that when programs grow, we're going to run into financial obstacles. I am very thankful that we have a supportive board, supportive administration, and a staff that understands that if the money was there, we would hand it to you. We're not holding anything back. We're not lying. It's so transparent, and our folks all understand that, and we're all going to work together to make everything work for the betterment of our kiddos. And that's the short version. I am a little over 9 o'clock, but I'll be happy to answer any questions at this time.
Questions for Daryl? But you're under 10 minutes.
Are we going to do a junior production every year, or is that just a one-off?
Alternate years?
Alternate years. We do not have a title for next year's high school.
Oh, okay.
The junior production, and the thing, I'm proud of so many things, but when we do a middle school junior, it's two middle schools working together. That's
right.
Oh, wow.
It's not just one. It's the theater and the choir departments from both schools. It's the kids working together. It's not a River Valley cast and a Midway Middle School cast. They are mixed. And so how great is that? Because they're going to the same school the next year in high school anyway. So why not get to know each other now?
That's
They
innovative.
do that with choir and theater in general. We just kind of push that off.
Love it.
Love it.
This isn't a question, but we've heard from both Fine Arts and Athletics tonight. And amongst other groups, they are the two biggest contributors to our placement in the Lone Star Cup.
Oh.
And we found out very recently, because they had to finalize the numbers from the state baseball and softball and all that, but we're 12 in the state.
Oh, that's
In
okay.
6A division. And y'all remind me, they don't break that down in ones and twos and all that. So of all the 6A schools in the state, we'd be ranked number 12, so. Do what? 247. All right, so.
You know,
First time
it's a
in a
shame
long
that we
time.
took that off the superintendent's
Yeah.
goals, isn't
Well-
it? I think that was my problem for wanting to take that off.
I want us to be top 5, so I'm okay. It gives us some time, but we're getting there.
Hey,
Yeah.
that's great.
Oh, okay. Didn't
Hey,
know
one,
that last year.
one of the things I'll say, and as a question, but also just a comment, both on fine arts and athletics, is as we've heard from facility study, I know there's elements in there designed to sort of help deal with growth and deal with, hey, you know, we've been here, we've had excellence, how do we keep having excellence there? So are we, I guess it's partially a question, but also as we dig into this summer, just making sure that you guys feel like we're in a good place with those conversations with facility study and things, everything from, you know, lighting and gyms to how many sousaphones do we need to own, or what, I mean, whatever it is, right?
Yes, very much so. The discussion of something as simple as, instead of keeping uniforms under the budget, we move it over to the bond. That's huge. That's $500,000. Your marching band uniforms, choir uniforms, all of those things are expensive. And if they can be paid out of a different bucket, that certainly helps us when I go to him and say, hey, I need a little, and that kind of thing. So,
Well,
yes.
and I know specifically the growth you've seen in dance and in
Right.
band has been
Oh,
just
yeah.
tremendous. So, and those are not cheap programs.
No, they're not, and we will continue to not, we just don't want to go out and say, if you want to be on our program, you need to pay this much money.
Yeah,
We don't want to do that.
Well,
appreciate
to
that.
piggyback on that, I think it's timely that we had both of these presentations after the facility study committee. And that's something y'all can help communicate with the community, that when we're talking about things that sound rather boring, like HVAC and roofing, when we can move those costs out of the M&O budget, it helps us to protect these programs, maintain the level of excellence, and make room for growth.
Right.
So it all
Well-
works together, and this is what we are working towards, is to continue to be able to do things like this
And
at this
I'm
level.
going to answer what you just said, when you said protecting programs. That's something that this board has historically done, and I thank you.
Well, there are school districts that have had to make hard choices where these are the kind of things that they have to cut because there's nowhere left. And so what we're considering here, when I say protection, that's, I'm very passionate about that.
And briefly, following Pam's comment, protecting the programs, Daryl's point is just so critical here, because what these programs ultimately are about are the students, but it's because of the people in the programs. And y'all all saw from Wesley's number how much money we spend on people, and we ought to be spending that much money on people, but it's the people that we've got to be able to pay for out of the M&O budget, because despite what a lot of people think, we can't pay people with bond money. You had something to say, Dr.
Yeah, y'all
Well,
covered that, right? You can't
and
use it.
Again, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I'm from time to time asked why, like Chris, other districts balance budgets. It seems like we spend money, like where's the fat on the bone thing. Daryl, you said something and you said it fast, but the number of school districts in the state of Texas where for kids to participate in dance, for kids to participate in choir, for kids, they are paying exorbitant. I know of Austin schools, you're paying $1,200, $1,500 for your kid to be in a marching band. And to this point, we've been able to avoid that. And I have to say that way because we got some serious budget concerns. But like this is part of what we do. This is part of the reason you can't use a cookie cutter approach to funding across the entire state of Texas when you're making these decisions, is because local communities value things differently. And it's important to us that every single one of our kids have access to these programs. And we're not cutting kids out because of what their mom and dad do for a living.
Right. Yeah.
Anybody else? Thank you, Darryl.
Thank you.
All right, consent agenda. We have minutes from our May special call board meeting, our regular board meeting, our proposed new club for girls in STEM, the budget amendment that's in the board packet, and a renewal on our depository contract. Does any board member wish to remove any item from the consent agenda? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So move.
Motion by Ms. Vick.
Second.
Second by Mr. Tullis. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. We will, Wesley, just go ahead and open the public hearing. No need for further comments or discussion. By law, we are required to conduct a public hearing on the proposed budget for 25-26. We'll open the public hearing. I see lots of members of the public. That the podium is yours. If you want to come address the board, we'd be delighted to hear from you. Particularly if what you want to do is cuss the legislature.
Take as much time as you need.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Maybe you don't want to do that in public, but
But
not
it is your
hearing
First
from the-
Amendment right to do so.
It is. Absolutely, it is. Absolutely. You don't have one in this context.
That's what I
Dr.
said.
Allen.
It's just not my right to do
Yeah.
so.
The public has that right. Not seeing any member of the public coming forward, we will close the public hearing. Wesley, do you need to talk to us any more about the budget, or can we simply entertain a motion to?
Just on page 87 of your packet, you see the three budgets the board's legally required to adopt. So that the one's up for adoption, so we can continue operating July 1st.
There you go. Everybody understand what's at issue here? As Wesley said, we have the three budgets.
Can we do them separately, or can we do them as one motion?
We can do them as one motion. So, do I have a motion to approve the budgets as presented, recommended by the administration?
So move.
Motion by Mr. Alford,
Second.
second by Mr. Green. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion also carries unanimously.
Dr. Allen, could you refresh our memory on what percentage of our budget we spend on our people?
Oh, well, salaries is roughly about 85%.
Yeah, this year's is a little over, or for fiscal year 26, a little over 85%.
And that remaining 15% has to do what? Everything else.
Contract services, utilities,
Yeah.
insurance.
Buses.
Putting diesel in the buses.
Yeah.
Pay for the buses, everything else.
Insurance.
Yeah. Maybe the best agenda item we have on any of our meetings. Appoint the delegate and alternate for the
Are we
TASB
planning
Delegate
ahead, or what?
Assembly.
Yeah.
I went last year.
You love that, yeah.
Do we have anybody that wants to volunteer to go?
What did I do it? I did it 3 years ago. Jonathan did it 2 years ago.
It's
Who did it
actually a
last
really
year?
neat experience. It just takes an afternoon.
I'd like to nominate Pam.
See, the second you said it was a really neat experience, I was like, boy, here we go.
She probably knows half the
likes
people at the table.
Do we have any further nominations?
I'll go.
Does she agree to serve if elected? That's the
Yes.
question.
But I want someone to buy me lunch.
Okay.
Done.
Not on the school dollar.
Not on the school dollar.
We're all getting a wallet down now.
It's worth our money.
Yeah, absolutely, we will do that.
I will volunteer to serve as alternate. How about that?
But I'm gonna get mine back because I'm gonna be approaching y'all to ask you about something that's coming up in the fall. So just.
She's plotting, she's plotting.
Oh, can I say that here?
No, hurry your vote.
We actually have to take action on this, as I understand it,
sorry.
TASB's rules. So I'm going to take that as a motion by Mr. Tullis to appoint Ms. Watts as the delegate and Mr. Witt as the alternate. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second by Ms. Vick. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Personnel. I'm looking. Okay. And we don't need to go into closed session.
Oh,
good answer.
That's a really good answer, particularly since it's the summer.
Yeah. We want a short night.
Superintendent's communications.
I will be brief, I promise. I'm looking at the clock, but I cannot help that in a night where we've spent so much money talking about budgets and bonds. But just take a moment to remind, not that anybody needs to be reminded, but y'all, this is the water and the soil and the nutrient that we root, grow, and develop student success in. It's money, but it's not about the money.
Right.
And I know we know that, but in the name of cussing Austin, like, it's just important to me that in every one of these conversations, we always kind of come back to grounding in that mission statement that we start with, right? Like, there's all this stuff that we talk about that has all this sort of business-sounding terminology to it, but somewhere there's a kiddo walking around, hopefully not, I pray to God he's in bed, but somewhere there's a kiddo who's going to be starting his first day of school in August. And ready or not, here they come, so we might as well be ready, right? So I appreciate the board's leadership in helping us deal with the business side of all this so that we can pour all of our hearts and souls into the children. Which is my second comment. This is our last board meeting to be graced with the presence of one Jennifer Allison.
I noted her
I noticed she was
presence
still
earlier.
back there.
And when she and I came in together, the notion of talking about putting kids first was not really questioned. I mean, we had to define what that meant and work on some things. But it wasn't even a conversation point. We said we're going to put the kids first in every conversation. And for a little while we did, and then you left and I left, and we came back and we did it again together for a year. And it's frustrating the degree to which trying to fight for that kid's first perspective has become much more of an uphill battle. But best wishes to you and your family as you relocate to Denver, and prepare your home for visitors. But thanks for your time, Jennifer. Yeah.
Forewarned is forearmed, yeah.
Absolutely, thank you. Anything else, folks, for the good of the cause? Thank you again to the committee, folks. Appreciate all y'all's time and effort.
We couldn't do what we do without community support.
Amen.
Truly.
Well, I just remember years ago, very, very briefly, when we were still in the old admin building, having a board meeting where there was a discussion among the board members about whether or not what the board members were hearing was an accurate gauge on where the community really was on anything. And I think that's why it's so important to have the kind of committee work so that we're not relying on us when we might be sadly mistaken because what we're hearing is not reflective of the community. And happily, we don't have to worry about that now. So thank you. All right, we adjourn.
All done.
All right.
Well said.
As always.